Okay. Good evening, dear ladies. I would like to bless all of us b'siyata d'ishmaya. We are in the 3 weeks. May Hashem reveal Mashiach tzidkenu b'mara b'yameinu, amen. May Hashem bring the מבשר אליהו הנביא, אליהו התיש, באליהו גלעדי, במרב משיח בן דוד, אליהו הנביא זכור לטוב. I would like to remind you that this Shabbat is Shabbat Matot, and Rosh Chodesh Av comes on Friday, which means Thursday night is Erev Rosh Chodesh, this week. And Friday is Rosh Chodesh, okay? From Thursday night it's already Friday. So this is Rosh Chodesh. You can light a candle this week on Thursday night for Rosh Chodesh b'siyata d'ishmaya and ask for good wishes, Bezrat Hashem. And I would like to give you the name of Hashem that we need to concentrate on Shacharit shel Rosh Chodesh b'musaf le Rosh Chodesh. So it says on Chumash Shmot that Hinei Yad Hashem hoya b'miknecha, that the hand of Hashem is on your cattle. From this, says the Arizal, is the name of the month of Hashem for the month of Av. This is the name, dear ladies. I'm writing instead of the Hey, Kuf. It's Kuf, Vav, Yud, Kuf. Menachem Av. This is the first name, and the second name is Kuf, Yud, Aleph, and then Kuf. Both names for the month of Av. When we come b'musaf, shel Rosh Chodesh, to Baruch Ata Hashem, Baruch Ata Hashem, Mekadesh Yisrael, Verashei Chodashim. When we say Baruch Ata Hashem, who sanctifies Israel and the first days of the month, so then we have to stop and concentrate on the name of Hashem for this month. This is the name of Hashem. You remember that the month of Tammuz, the whole name of Hashem is backwards. Yud Kei Vav Kei, it's backwards. But you can see it's called Menachem Av this month because the first part of the month is judgment and the second is mercy. Ze Chesed and this is Din. The first part of the month is judgment until Tisha B'Av and Yud B'Av, the 9th of Av and the 10th of Av. And then from Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, of Menachem Av, it becomes a time of celebration.
But Av is also judgment?
בטח.
ראש חודש.
כל החצי. ראש חודש זה הכל חסד. תמיד ראש חודש זה חסד. It's a big חסד ראש חודש. But the whole month בסייעתא דשמיא is judgment. This month is all of its judgment. The month of Av, half of it is judgment, half of it is mercy. From the 15th of Av. Because the Arizal asks, why do the children of Israel daven and their davening is not answered? So he says because they do not know how to concentrate and visualize the name of Hashem. We are not allowed to take the letters out of our mouth. And remember that the kuf is hey. I cannot write it because otherwise kuf equals hey. Because otherwise I cannot wipe the name of Hashem. So dear ladies, this is the combination of the name of Hashem for the month of Av. This is from the Yud Kuf Vav Kuf. This is the name of mercy, 26, and over here it's the name of Ehyeh, the name of Tshuva of Hashem. So on Rosh Chodesh, on Friday morning, when we do Musaf shel Rosh Chodesh, and we come to the blessing, Baruch Ata Hashem, Mekadesh Yisrael B'Rashei Chadashim, blessed are you, Hashem, that sanctifies Israel and the first days of the month. We need to concentrate, which visualize only the letters. Those letters of the name of Hashem. That's the only thing that we need to do, to visualize them. Both of them. And the Siyata Dishma.
What was the first name?
This is the first name. It comes from Yud Kei Vav Kei, the name of mercy that you see in the Siddur. The Siddur Shem Hashem appears Yud Kei Vav Kei. But the combination of the name for the month of Av, this is the combination. And the name Ehyeh, which is the name of Tshuva, of redemption, The name of tshuva is also like this. This is the name that we need to concentrate. Both of them, בראש חודש אב, מוסף של ראש חודש אב.
Hey Bob, what is it that is being?
Because it's from the backwards to the front. Because Yud K Vav K, this is Yud K Vav K. This is mercy, Chesed. So you see, it goes backwards, both of them, and this stays the same thing. The first part of the month, then it's the Kuf, and then the Vav. You see, backwards.
So
You remember that? So the first part of the month is judgment, but the second part of the month is mercy, because it's on the right, you see, the right order of mercy. The month of Nisan, all of it, because it's the month of redemption, this is the name of Hashem, just like it's written in the Siddur for the month of Nisan.
Right.
Just like we have in the Siddur. I would like to remind you that Parshat Matot, Hashem gave me the zchut to give shiurim about Parshat Matot. Please go to TorahAnytime.com or RabbanitEars.com and see by the Pardes the shiurim about Parshat Matot. You remember over there, it's all about neder and vows and things that we promise and how b'siyata d'ishmaya we need to behave, that everything that we take out of our mouth we should fulfill. You know, it's written in the Zohar HaKadosh. It was part of Chok Israel for Parashat Pinchas. It's written over there that if a person should not curse himself, chas v'shalom. If a person curses himself, there's an angel that takes the words that he cursed and runs after him until lo alenu, the curse is fulfilled. So chas v'shalom, even if we are angry, we shouldn't curse ourselves. Betach not others, but us ourselves too. Even if we are very angry, very frustrated, very depressed, do not curse yourself. If you are very depressed, take chocolate, this chocolate, and b'siyata d'ishmaya you'll feel better. Bless Shakol. Remember that everything comes from Hashem, and you'll smile and you'll feel better. I would like to tell you, Nashim Ekarot, okay. We are going into the 9 days of Tisha B'Av. So I'm going to give you b'siyata d'ishmaya the laws about the 9 days. משנכנס אדר ממעטין בשמחה. When Adar comes in, we reduce our happiness. It's not that we are not happy totally, but we reduce. חודש אב. Adar, sorry. משנכנס אב ממעטין בשמחה. When Av comes in, we reduce our ways that we show ממעטין בשמחה, which means it doesn't. Adar מעלים, when I say we reduce, what does it mean? That we shouldn't be depressed. Mema'atin, we make the simcha. If we want to buy ourselves, for example, new clothes, we won't do that. This is mema'atin b'simcha. Do you understand?
We cannot buy new clothes.
No, it's not good to buy new clothes during the 3 weeks. We spoke about it. But if we'll know that we'll lose money, now the prices is very low, and then after Tisha B'Av, everything will be high, and we can't afford it, and we'll lose money. So Hashem says, okay, so you can buy and put it aside. You are not going to dress it up. Only on Shabbat, if you want, and say Shechianu, because during the 3 weeks you cannot say Shechianu, but on Shabbat we can. So let's start b'siyata d'ishmaya with the laws of Av. So we reduce our joy, which means when you reduce, it doesn't mean that you're not joyful anymore. You have to be joyful for everything that Hashem gave you, because you cannot worship Hashem without being happy. Depression comes from the evil inclination. We need to be happy with everything that Hashem gave us, and we're going to speak about it in a minute. But first, b'siyata d'ishmaya. משנכנס אב ממעטין בשמחה, אין בונין בניין של שמחה או בניין שהוא רק לרווחה. We do not do weddings, dear ladies. When Av comes in, we do not do weddings. There are customs that before the month of Av, some of the Sephardic people do weddings during the weeks of Tammuz, but when Av comes in, nobody does weddings. Okay, dear ladies? And another thing, if we have judgment on these days, especially when the month of Av starts, we should postpone the judgment. If we have court day on these days, don't go to court. Postpone it. It's not good for the children of Israel. Don't go to court on these days. Postpone it after the 10th of Av. Because the 9th of Av it started the ruining of the temple and the fire of the temple, but it ended on the 10th of Av. So until the ending of the 10th of Av, postpone everything, courts, anything that is with judgment, postpone everything, dear ladies. We do not sanctify the moon before Tisha B'Av, only after the 10th of Av, dear ladies. אין מקדשים את הלבנה עד לאחר תשעה באב. Another thing, מנהג בכל ישראל שלא לאכול בשר ושלא לשתות יין בתשעת הימים מן ראש חודש עד לאחר תשעה באב. It's a custom not to eat meat or chicken or to drink wine during these 9 days. Usually it includes the 10th day. So dear ladies, what we do, I know that a lot of people like dairy. This is the 9th day of the dairy food. Everybody eats dairy. Except for Shabbat, dear ladies, because on Shabbat we don't have mourning customs. On Shabbat, even a person, Shelo Aleinu, his father or mother passed away, or one of his siblings, he has to be merry on Shabbat. He has to eat basar, he eats meat, he drinks wine, and he's happy. There's no customs of mourning. Everything that we do now is customs of mourning because of the ruining of the temple, both temples, the first and the second. But Shabbat, there's no customs of mourning, so we don't do on Shabbat mourning. Dear ladies, we do not eat meat and chicken, and we don't drink wine because of two things. Because they couldn't sacrifice any sacrifices in the temple, and because of that, in order to show that we are mourning over the temple, we do not eat meat and chicken. And they couldn't put wine on, to put nisuch hayayin livrut, nisuch hayayin, the wine on the altar. So because of that, we do not drink wine except nashim ikarot, except for Shabbat. If there's a sick person that, there are people that cannot eat dairy, then they're allowed to eat meat or chicken. It says over here ככה, אך מי שמאכלי חלב מזיקינו יכול לאכול בשר עוף ולצורך חולה הכל מותר. And if it's a sick person, everything is allowed for him. Okay? כן.
לבשל בשרי, נגיד פת, את משתמשת ואפשר את זה לאכול, או צריך בנפרד משהו פרווה?
מה זאת אומרת לאכול במהלך 9 ימים?
נגיד אני מבשלת בסיר כל השבת, נגיד בשר, בשרית,
אז תבשלי פחות.
אני יכולה את זה להשתמש בתשעה בימים של אוכל.
לא. Do exactly the amount that you need for Shabbat. After Shabbat, you cannot eat meat and drink wine. This is a custom.
לא, אבל הכוונה שלה זה אם אפשר לבשל באותו סיר מה שאנחנו אוכלים כל הזמן, ואם אפשר לבשל בשבת, לא שבת, ליום רגיל לתשעה באב.
אין לי סיר אחר, ואני מבשלת בסיר איפה שאני מכינה את הבשר.
פרווה את מתכוונת, רק פרווה.
זה לא פרווה, אבל בישלנו בפנים. בישלנו בפנים בשרי.
את יכולה להשתמש כל עוד זה פרווה. זה לא בשר, את לא אכלת בשר עכשיו, את לא אוכלת בזה. כן, אבל את לא, כן, רק שלא יהיה בשרי. כן, כן, בדיוק, באותו דבר.
אפשר לבשל בסיר שמושל בפנים.
What was the original question?
She asked, okay. פרב אפשר, the dear ladies, let's continue. So I won't forget what you need. During the 9 days, אין עושים בתשעה ימים אלו בגדים חדשים. We do not wear new clothing, or minalim, or shoes that are new. And another thing, I told you that during this time, the 9 days, even to prepare a kala dress, it's better not to do it. During the 9 days. So either finish it now or do it after the 9 days b'siyata dishmaya, but do not prepare it during the 9 days. It's days of judgment. Another thing, during the 9 days, we don't take a shower for pleasure. It's written, אין רוחצין בתשעה ימים אלו אפילו בצונן. We can wash our face, our hands, our legs, but not to take a shower for pleasure. So, Yalkut Yosef says, because it's very warm, it's not comfortable to sit and you are sweating, so you are allowed, if it's cold water, just to go quickly to clean yourself, because otherwise it's bitul Torah, because if you don't feel clean, you can't study the Torah. So he says, if it's bitul Torah, you can go and with cold water wash yourself. But a woman for the mikveh can do everything. For the mikveh, it's a big mitzvah, you can do everything for the mikveh. וכן נידה רוחצת וטובלת כדרכה. כן.
אם את קנית דבר חדש לפני ראש חודש אב, את יכולה ללבוש
לא, לא. And from the 9 days we do not wear anything that is new. And even, dear ladies, even things that are washed. We are doing all the laundry. I'm coming to it in a minute. אני כבר מגיעה לזה, בסדר? איפה זה? Okay, dear ladies. וכן אין מחפשים בתשעת ימים אלו. We do not do the laundry during these 9 days. So now do the laundry before Rosh Chodesh. Do the laundry, and what happens is that in order that these won't be new clothing that we laundered, so what do? So there's a custom to wear even a few underwears, one above the other. So when you wear it during the 9 days, it's not straight after the laundry, and it's not new. Do you understand? And the Ben Ish Chai says you can even put it on the floor and just with your legs go on it, so it's not new, it's not after laundry, and then you can do it.
All clothes?
Yes, it shouldn't be fresh, dear. That's the word I'm missing. It shouldn't be fresh. So what we do, Yalkut Yosef says, we put a few underwears, one above the other, so it's not fresh anymore. You understand? And then you put it back in the cupboard, and in the drawer in the cupboard. And then, dear ladies, also the clothing that you're going to wear, you also wear them, even one above the other. It's okay. And Ben Ish Chai says you can put it on the floor, and not with your shoes, but with your legs. Just step on it, so it's not fresh anymore, and you can use it during the 9 days. Okay? Now, the Ashkenazi, the whole 9 days, do not do laundry. But the Sephardics, most of them don't do the laundry only on the week of Tisha B'Av, dear ladies, on the week of Tisha B'Av. It depends on the customs. You have to ask the rabbis in the shul. What customs, to be on the safe side, your husbands, they know. They go to the shul, the rabbis will tell them, and then you do what all of the community does, okay? These are only customs. עכשיו, in the honor of Shabbat, מותר ללבוש בגדי בשתן ולהציע על השולחנות לבנים. You can put a tablecloth, washed one on Shabbat, because this is for Shabbat, and I told you Shabbat doesn't have all the customs of mourning, because we don't have customs of mourning on Shabbat. Okay, another thing. כוס הבדלה במוצאי שבת. On מוצאי שבת, when we do הבדלה, usually a small child drinks, because we're not allowed to drink wine. As on Shabbat we are allowed. מה עושים מוצאי Shabbat? What do we do in Havdalah? So usually what happens, that the one that is doing the Havdalah drinks a little bit, but most of the amount a child drinks. Okay, he gives it to a child, dear lady, and he drinks everything.
But the adult is Tanit, how they can...
No, this Motzei Shabbat. Next week we'll speak what happens when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat next week. On Shabbat, and the fast is on Sunday. We'll speak, and when do we have Suda Mafseket? Everything we'll speak next week. But this you need to know, that it's written, בכוס של הבדלה במוצאי שבת, אם יש תינוק שישתה רוב הכוס, נותנים לו. ואם לאו, יכול המבדיל בעצמו לשתות. So, what happens if you have a child at home, a son that is ילד קטן, you give him to drink בכוס הבדלה. לרביעית מכוס הבדלה. I think we went about everything about these 9 days. Next week,
Samim or something? I was confused.
כן, הרגיל, כן, מוצאי שבת הזה. Next week we'll speak about it. Next week is only Tisha B'Av on Shabbat. I'm speaking now that we start the 9 days. This Friday is already Rosh Chodesh Av. And then Shabbat is Shabbat. As usual Shabbat. Only next week on Shabbat we'll speak, on Monday B'Sat Shema, all of the halachot regarding the Shabbat of Tisha B'Av. What do? We do not fast, but we do Suda Mafseket on Suda Shlishit. But I'll speak about everything because we won't remember. You need to write it down and we'll do it next week, Bezrat Hashem. Go through everything that we do. Now, we spoke about gratefulness. So I would like to start it with a story. There's a story about Eliyahu Navi, Zachur Latov, Zchuto Tagen Aleinu. Eliyahu Navi pretended to be a human being, a regular human being. And he dressed himself like a regular human being and he went walking. And he saw 3 men standing together. One of them said, "I wish I was very rich." And his friends asked him why. He said, "Because if I was very rich, I would, b'siyata d'ishmaya, give charity to everyone. There wouldn't be a person that will knock on my door and I won't give him charity." The second person said, "You know what? I don't want to be rich. I want to be wise. I want to know the Torah. And if I will be wise and know the Torah, I will build a big Beit HaMidrash, a big kollel, and even the poor children can come free without money to study the Torah." The third person, the third friend said, "I don't want money and I don't want wisdom. I just want a righteous wife." That's Eshet Chayil Mi'imtza. That's what I want from Hashem. Hashem Isha Maskelet. Eshet Chayil Mi'imtza. So Eliyahu Navi heard this and he approached them. He said, "You know, I heard your conversation and I want to give you gifts. And these gifts are from Hashem." The one that asked for money, he gave him a copper coin. And he said, "Take this and put it in a drawer and close the drawer and you will become very rich." The person that we asked for wisdom, he said, "Here's an amulet, klaf. I wrote psukim, I wrote verses from the Torah. Keep it 3 nights under your pillow, sleep on it, and b'siyata d'ishma, you'll wake up and you'll be very wise. And you can open a Beit HaMidrash." The third person, he says, "Listen, you see from here, you see over there, there's a green door. Knock on the door and ask for a glass of water." Okay? The one that received the coin put it in the drawer. Opened the drawer, it was full of money. Every time he wanted money, he put it in the drawer. He bought a mansion, he had servants, everything that he wished for. The second one built a big kollel, big Beit HaMidrash, and studied over there Torah with a lot of students, a lot of Talmidei Chachamim. The third one knocked on the green door, and there was a woman that opened the door. Her mother came too, and he said, "Please, can you give me a cup of water?" And they told him to come in. They gave him a cup of water. He spoke with her. Her father came in too. They were speaking. She was a very nice and humble lady. And after a while, after 3 months, they got married. 5 years passed, and Hashem sends Eliyahu Navi to see if all these 3 men knew how to appreciate the present that Hashem gave them. So Eliyahu Navi, again dressed up as a poor person, he knocks on the door of the rich man. He has a big mansion. So he knocks on his door. A servant comes to the door and he says, "Please, I'm so tired and I'm so thirsty and hungry. Can you please give me something to eat and something to drink?" He says to him, the servant, "Do you think this is a Bet Tamchui? This is a place that we give free food and drinks? Go away from here." And closed the door. Eliyahu Navi knocked again on the door. He opens the door. So he said, "Didn't you understand what I'm telling you?" He said, "Please, go to your master and tell him that I want back the coin that I gave him." So he goes to his master and he gives him the coin and he gives it back to Eliyahu Navi. He went to the second person that he gave him the amulet, the klaf, with the verses from the Torah. And he brought a small child with him, and he knocks on Beit HaMidrash, and he wants to put the child to study Torah. So they said, of course, he can study Torah, that it costs this and this amount. But he says, you see that we are poor. I cannot afford to pay for him. Please accept him and teach him the Torah without money. And the man says, no, I'm sorry. If you don't have money to pay, you cannot study here Torah. So Eliyahu Navi said, please call the rabbi and tell him that I want back the amulet that I gave him 5 years ago. So he goes to the rabbi, he takes the amulet, and he goes from there. Now he goes to the man that asked for a righteous wife. He knocks on the door. And Eshet Chayil, this wife, opens the door and with a smile accepts him. And he says, I didn't eat and drink for the whole day. Please, if you can give me something to eat and drink. She says, of course, welcome. Come into the house. She puts a whole meal in front of him. She prepares the bed for him in the guest room to sleep. And she goes out of the house and closes the door because she cannot be with him in the same house. And while she was preparing everything, the door was open, the entrance was open. Now she went out and she was waiting for her husband. So her husband comes back home and he sees her sitting on the stairs. He says, what happened? She said, listen, we have a guest. He's very poor. He was thirsty and hungry and he was very tired. So I prepared everything for him and I let him sit down and drink and eat. And he went to sleep after that and I'm waiting over here. He says, wow, what Eshet Chayil Hashem gave me. What a righteous woman Hashem gave me. So he came inside the house. Eliyahu Navi woke up and he sits with him and he says to him, you know who I am? He says, no. He says, I am the one that you asked a wish from him. L'siyata d'ishma, to have an Eshet Chayil. He says to him, listen carefully, because you are so righteous, both of you, you have two more presents. One is the copper coin, and the other one is the amulet that the verses from the Torah is on it. Dear ladies, I would like to explain why I said this. Hashem gave a present to the children of Israel. What did he give us as a present? Beit HaMikdash. The temple was in Yerushalayim and the Shekhinah was above the temple and miracles appeared in front of the children of Israel every day. And we didn't know how to appreciate the gifts. Those two men did not know how to appreciate the gifts that they were given. Dear ladies, Ezeu Chacham, who is Chacham? Dear ladies, what is Chacham? It says, Zeu Ashir HaSameach Bechelko. Who is rich? The man who is happy with what he has and doesn't have lust for more and more and more. Look, Chacham is Rashi Tevot Shel Chatzi Kos Melea. Half a glass that is filled. Mem, this is Mem. You see the Mem? Half a glass that is filled. Which means, when are we wise? When we are always happy and we appreciate this. You see the half of glass that is filled, but not the half that is empty. What do I mean when I say empty? When we sit down and cry over the things that we don't have. That we think that we need them and truly we do not need them. We need to look at the things that Hashem gave us and to say thank you and be thankful for this. Those two men did not know how to say thank you, so Hashem took back the presents that He gave them. All of the presents, dear ladies. So Hashem, what did He do with us? He took back the temples. He ruined both temples. It's not that the Goyim ruined the temples. It's Hashem that caused that the temple will be ruined because of us, because we didn't know how to appreciate the gift. So what do we do now? These 3 weeks, Orach Chaim HaKadosh says, during these 3 weeks, we have the ability to ask for everything, especially for a home. Which means it's marriage, children, everything. Why? Because in these 3 weeks, we are asking for Beit HaMikdash. This is the home of Hashem. So we're asking also that our house will be a home for Hashem. That the Shekhinah will be upon us too, a home for Hashem. So we can ask during these 3 weeks for everything. We ask for Mashiach, for the Beit HaMikdash Yibaneh Be'ezrat Hashem. And we need to visualize. Which means we need in our imagination to see, if I want to get married, I need to see myself a bride. In my mind, to see myself a bride. If I want to get pregnant, I should see myself in my mind already pregnant. Do you understand? If I want shlom bayit, I should see in my imagination already shlom bayit. That my husband behaves nice to me and I behave nice to him and the children are happy. Yeah. If I want my children in tshuva, I should see them, imagine them already be tshuva, with a beard, happy, going to the synagogue, going to the Beit HaMidrash, going to the Kollel. I should in my imagination already see it. Once I see it, dear ladies, it will be here. Once I stop seeing it in my imagination, here in my mind, it won't be. So, dear ladies, in order that the third temple will be built, Beit HaMikdash HaShlishi, we need to imagine that it is in front of us. We need to see, then we'll have the zchut to see Beit HaMikdash. We need to see it in front of us. You know, there's a beautiful story about the Chozeh Miluvnin. Dear ladies, when he passed away, he gave all of his inheritance, what he had, to his children. So one of the children, Rabbi Yosef, received all of his clothing of Shabbat and the watch. Clothing of Shabbat, the belt, and his watch. And after the Shiva, he went back home, dear ladies, and on the way it was pouring rain. He went into an inn to sleep over there. But once he woke in the morning, he didn't have anything to pay. He didn't have any money to pay. The only thing that he has was the belt of his father, Zchuto Tagen Aleinu, and the clothing for Shabbat and the watch. So he went to the innkeeper. He said, I don't have money, but the only thing that I have is this. Take what you want, that you feel that this will pay what I need to pay you. So he took the watch. Few years later, Rabbi Dov Ber, Zchuto Tagen Aleinu, came to the same inn. And he told the innkeeper, which was Jewish, you know, I need to study Torah, and I study everyday Torah, and I need a very quiet room that nobody can disturb me. So he said, the innkeeper said, I don't have a quiet room, but the only quiet room that I have is my room. So I'll give you, Rabbi, my room. Okay? And he told him, please, I beg of you, I want quiet. Okay? At night, the innkeeper goes to sleep, and he went to a different room, and he hears above him somebody dancing, clapping his hands, singing, very, very happy. So the innkeeper is shocked because above him sleeps Rabbi Dov Ber, Zchuto Tagen Aleinu. So he says to himself, but he wanted a quiet room, and look, he's making noise, I can't even sleep. In the morning, he goes to Rabbi Dov Ber, and he says to him, Rabbi, he says, you told me that you wanted a quiet room. What happened? So the rabbi says to him, tell me please, how did you get this watch? He says, well, you know, a few years ago, Rabbi Yosef was here, the son of Chozeh Miluvnin, and he didn't have money to pay, and he said, this is what he has, a belt he had, and clothing for Shabbat, and he had this watch, and he told me, take what is fair for your price that I slept over here. So I took the watch. He says, do you know what kind of watch you have? So he says, a regular watch. He says, no. This is a special watch. The regular watches like you have on your hands show us the time, and that every minute that passes away, we have less time in this world. Because from the moment that we are born, it's a countdown before we go out of this world. So every minute that passes, it's a minute less in this world. But the watch of the Chozeh Miluvnin, dear ladies, is a watch that shows the Geulah. Every minute that passes through means that the exile is shortened and the Geulah is Korva. Every minute that passes. So, dear ladies, every year that passes, every time that we pass through Tisha B'Av, we are closer to the Geulah. We are closer to the appearance of Mashiach. And in order to bring Mashiach, we should be thankful and look at all the things that Hashem gave us. That we wake up in the morning, that we have clothing, that we have a roof over our head, that we have food on our table, that we have, Baruch Hashem, children. Nothing is obvious. That we can move our hands and legs and go to work, Baruch Hashem. That we are healthy, Baruch Hashem. We wake up in the morning, we can go to the toilet. It's not obvious. Dear ladies, we have to look because חכם זה חצי כוס מלאה. He who is wise looks at the half glass that is full. Yes, there's only a person who is wise. I would like to tell you that I love all of you, and I would like בעזרת השם לברך, to bless, that שיתגלה משיח צדקנו במהרה בימינו אמן, שיגיע מבשר אליהו נביא זכור לטוב, לעולם ייפרד אדם מחברו בדבר הלכה יחיד ברבים והלכה כרבים.